my sister's wedding was being promoted like a movie premiere. The event of the decade, gold embossed invitations, a countdown website, a strict color palette with rules. I'm Maya, 28, and in my family's vocabulary. That makis me the Luddertown. Lucky because I moved to New York. Lucky because my email signature said, Senior Analyst. What they never saw were the 80-hour weeks that swallowed my 20s. The nights I fell asleep with spreadsheets open on my chest. The studio apartment, so small I could touch the sink from my bed. They didn't see the ramen dinners or the panic attacks, disguised as being just tired. They only saw the title. And to them, a title meant money. Endless money. For years, I wasn't a daughter or a sister. I was a buffer. When bills got tight, I filled the gap. When emergencies appeared, I absorbed the shock. So, when my sister Chloe announced her destination wedding in Tuscany, I didn't just receive an invitation. I received an invoice disguised as love. I arrived in Italy 3 days early to help. My arms ached from travel one hand, holding a garment bag with a bridesmaid. Dress that cost more than my first month's rent. The other gripping my laptop, because deadlines don't pause for weddings. The bridal suite smelled like money, perfume, fresh flowers, luxury candles. I stepped inside, waiting for something, a smile, a hug. Even as your flight. Nothing came. My mother barely looked up from tying silk ribbons. She said the florist needed another for, and told me to use my corporate card, asking casually if I could just write it off. Chloe sat at the vanity, her face half-painted, scrolling through photos of herself, and added that I would also be covering brunch because the guest list had doubled. Request. No pause. Just assumption. I stood there as the sweat dried on my skin, jet lag buzzing in my skull, staring at to people spending money I had spent a decade earning. Something inside me didn't snap or shatter. It simply evaporated. I smiled not warmly, but clearly, and said that I hoped the photos would be worth the foreclosure. The room went silent. I didn't explain myself. I placed my laptop on the vanity, moving aside bottles of perfume, and showed them every transfer and payment I had made. The money I had given for a roof repair that somehow became an engagement party. The car payments I covered while a vintage convertible was gifted in secret. The legal paperwork showing my name on the lease of the family business, unpaid for months because they were saving for the wedding. I looked at them and said I hadn't come to be a bridesmaid. I slid a manila envelope across the table. It wasn't a card. It was my withdrawal. I told them I had spent $45,000 on the family in 2 years, and that I had already called the landlord to terminate the lease. Since I was legally responsible, I sighed I hadn't paid the florist and had disputed the charges for the dress and the flights. Chloe stood up, her face drained of color, screaming that I was ruining her wedding. I picked up my bags and told her calmly that I was retiring from the family. Business, and, since the business had always been my bank account, they were out of a job. I checked into a luxury spa 10 miles away, turned off my phone, and slept for 14 hours in silence. The wedding still happened, but it was at a courthouse. There were no flowers. My parents downsized. Chloe got her first real job.